Okay, let's see. Let me know when the participants start coming in. We're good to go. Okay, they're coming. Okay, it was like, I think they have a couple more. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay, beautiful. Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is my show, Stories of Light. I haven't done this show in a while, but I am very, very excited to resurrect it again with the one and only Marguerite Rigoglioso. I am just so deeply honored to be here today with you, Marguerite. I have to tell you, this book is extraordinary. It's like this book, when I started reading it, I just had so much like sacred soul remembrance. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just being very honest, even with the audience right off the bat. I like was crying. I was crying. I just felt just like Mother Mary's loving presence. And I just want to really honor you as being that voice, that channel to bring her medicine and her magic to the world. You are really doing such sacred work. And I feel like especially I've worked with so many different gods and goddesses, and I feel like there's no one quite like Mother Mary, and I'm sure you agree.
Yes. Wow. I'm just feeling so moved by what you're saying, Elizabeth, because I don't know, you and I have a special connection and we always have. And that's just that means a lot to me to hear those words from you and that emanation of that energy kind of returning back to me. You know what I mean? Because we put out so much energy and then you never know. And just welcome to everybody who's here live and who's on YouTube. So lovely to see everybody. Yes, Mother Mary is the one.
She is the one. That's kind of what I gathered from this book. And I just love all the information you brought through. I know we're going to go into more of this in the interview, but
Yeah.
Margaret talks about there's like a special saint, I believe his name is Sri Kaleshwar,
Yes.
who really brought through these ancient teachings on the holy womb chakra, on immaculate conception. And Mother Mary, really like part of, I feel like the power that this book brought through, it was Mother Mary's like embodiment of those sacred mysteries. And I just could feel as you were writing the book, I just felt the dissemination of those mysteries. I just felt there were so many light codes. There was so much I received through your glorious, glorious words on the page. And so I just know that even in this conversation, there's going to be so much magic. There's going to be so much revelation coming through for everyone here today. So
Yeah.
I want to introduce, for those of you who are not familiar with Marguerite, I just want to give her a proper introduction. So Marguerite Mary Rigoglioso is the founder of Seven Sisters Mystery School, a world-renowned teacher of sacred knowledge and the foremost authority on the history of virgin birth, a trusted mentor to people on healing and spiritual paths. She draws on her decades-long research and experiences with Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene to help uncover their hidden, timeless teachings and apply them to our present-day needs. The award-winning author of several books, including The Secret Life of Mother Mary, Divine Feminine Power for Personal Healing and Planetary Awakening, and The Mystery Tradition of Miraculous Conception, Mary and the Lineage of Virgin Births. She currently lives in Western Massachusetts. So I am just truly ecstatic to have you here. And I know many people have come live to really to see this. I'm sure they are curious about the secrets you reveal in this book. And also more about, I feel like Mother Mary just has she's a holy woman, but I feel like there's such a magic to her. And I know we're going to go much deeper into that today.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And what I'd like to say is when we began, I said, yeah, Mother Mary is the one because she merged with the Divine Mother. So she's her own personality as Mother Mary, and she is part of the larger stream, which you could also call Kuan Yin, which you could also call Tara, which you could also call, any one of these great goddess beings who have been working with us on the earth plane. And her doorway is just but one by which we can enter the mysteries, but a very good one because she's been here all the time for at least 2,000 years, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever's gone on with the hijacking of her image and the distorting of her reality and her message, there's still a stream that has just not been stopped as to who she is and who Mary Magdalene is. And so for many of us who have grown up in Western traditions, and really anybody who feels the call, whether you've grown up in Christianity or not, she's just an elegant, excellent doorway by which we can, start or continue to develop our divine essence.
I love that. No, I just really felt I just want to share from personal experience. When I first got your book, I just had so much soul memory triggered in me. I went to Jerusalem, maybe it was like 10 years ago, and I went to there's like a special it's in Nazareth. There is a special church dedicated to Mother Mary. Until that moment, I went there because I wanted to connect more with Yeshua. But when I went into this, it was like this church for Mother Mary. I swear, I just like my heart stopped. I was in there. I think it was probably like 3 or 4 hours. It felt like 2 or 3 minutes. It was like one of those experiences that was beyond time. Until that moment, I never understood the power of Mary herself. The way you describe Mary is like she is the one. And something this wasn't a question I prepared, but I think I want to, actually open with this. Sri Kaleshwar, like you state in your book, he really said that not even just a lot of Jesus's power came from Mary, but almost all of it came from Mary. And I'm
Yes.
wondering if you can shine some light on that for the audience.
Yes, this is about the conferring of the teachings to, first of all, conceive this divine child, right? So be working with the magical explorations and machinations of the universe, of the sounds of the realms of sound, light, matter, quantum physics, and everything, and her lineage, her female lineage, to work with the cosmic beings, including the angel we know as Gabriel, the master. uh he helps with conception, all right? The God, call on him, all right? If you're having fertility problems, Gabriel is there. But um she was part of this whole mastery, this whole plan. And I love what the seer Lavender says, that this took 500 years for these families to get in sync and incarnate at the same time, right? And so then there's the whole process that Sri Kaleshwar describes as the conferring of the teachings in utero when Jesus was in her womb, how she was working with these sacred practices, these mantras and yantras that are available to all of us, by the way. This isn't about Mother Mary out there, little us over here. No, this is about us, kind of turning on what is the Mary mastery within us. Anyway, she was working with these practices, teaching him in the womb, and of course, teaching him in his early years, and then supporting him absolutely completely as his soulmate, his spiritual soulmate during his ministry while he was walking the planet, and then helping him to resurrect his body and soul during the crucifixion. That is quite a role, and one that we do see described and hinted at. There are parallels with what Sri Kaleshwar is saying in the Christian biographies of Mary. But when we put them all together, we get this whole much larger, radiant picture of this master woman who became goddess, who had her final full ascension.
Yeah, I just want to say one of the most moving things for me reading your book, I did not know. Like I heard different stories that, once Jesus was resurrected, he went to India. So that I kind of had a heads up about, but I never knew that it was Mother Mary who was the one who restored him to life. And when I read that, something stilled in my heart. And I'm just wondering if you can speak to that. I know that you go into this experience in the book in greater detail, but I just think that so many people, it's like, he has risen. And it just seems like it's just almost like, happenstance, magic of the universe because he is so powerful. And yet from the book, I remember, you saying certain things like Yeshua himself. I think there were certain things, I think he had to stop his breath like
Yeah.
7 minutes before he knew he was gonna, depart his body. And then
Yeah,
Mother Mary had to do certain things to bring him back. I'm wondering
that's
if
right.
you can share more about that with everyone.
Yes, yes. So all the details of this are in The Secret Life of Mother Mary, and I absolutely honor credit to Sri Kaleshwar, who describes this process so amazingly. But yes, in short, they are practicing Atma Kandana Yoga, which is the learning how to take your soul out of your body, but only leave a little bit in. So you could come back in once Parakaya Pravesh is encountered or accomplished, which is the bringing of the body back to life, which, as we know with Jesus and Lazarus is a process that he developed the abilities to do because he and his mother were working them, right? Parakaya Pravesh. So I image it as the Pietà image of Michelangelo, where he's taken down broken body from the cross, and by the help of Nicodemus and Joseph of Arimathea, I think, who even they flee, and she's left alone, the sole person, right, the one who brought him in and the one who's going to bring him in again, and she's starting to do her processes, which have to do with these mantras, apparently, essentially, right? And of course, more than mantras, it's like really knowing how to not just say these mantras, da 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 da, but connect with the angelic forces that are connected with each of the syllables of the mantras, right? In order to like have him go really come back in. And he, at the same time, hovering in the astral plane, is working it as well. And although Mary Magdalene isn't physically present there, she's probably doing her own, practices and so forth. And then Sri Kaleshwar describes what happens, and I'll leave that to people to go read that. But a resurrection does happen. And as I see it, it's open to whatever timeline works for you. For some people, the timeline is that the resurrection was a spiritual one, and he had his ascension into the higher dimensions. For others, it's no, he actually restored himself body and soul with Mother Mary, and then yes, was seen by the apostles, and then went to India, according to Sri Kaleshwar. Now this is also it's also in the Islamic tradition. Like they kind of hold that he actually didn't die, or he at least kind of came back to life. So it's sort of, it allows all these possible timelines to converge, and we can hold each one of them according to the medicine that they give us. One way or another, something major happened. There was a death rebirth experience. This was all designed to show us what is possible for us as humans, as ascending humans, and then let's move on with it. The crucifixion and resurrection isn't the be all and the end all. It's the what goes later, you know. And Mother Mary had her whole ministry in Jerusalem and probably Turkey. And then Jesus certainly had his ministry, whether it was, in the inner dimensions or whether it was in India. That continued on, and these ministries continue on today through all of us who are connecting back in with this and bringing to life the essential mystery that is practical for us today. We are resurrecting Jesus and Mother Mary through this process, and we are resurrecting ourselves through this process. So that's the news headline for this conversation with you, Elizabeth, today.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I will make sure that that's in bold when I send out the replay. It's like, we are resurrecting them here today, and we are resurrecting ourselves. I love that. And because I think that part of that resurrection is that, we are the divine. And it's knowing that in like on a cellular level, on like it's beyond the mind, beyond the soul. And I feel like they are the teachers bringing that through. So it's not just an idea, it's an embodiment.
A
And
complete embodiment, a complete embodiment. And these teachings of Sri Kaleshwar, where we can learn the mantras and the yantra drawing practices and other practices, we can start putting that into our bodies, whatever our sex.
Mhm.
Okay. This is open to everyone. So this is another good, really good doorway to start getting practical stuff happening in your body. And there are many other things that you all have been intuiting and will continue to be intuiting as you read this book, as you figure out for yourself what to do as they converse, as you leave some meditation time and converse with them. You're going to get the downpours of whatever it is that you need to do. So this is not pinned to any particular groupings of teachings or whatever. This is as unique as you are. And so allowing just for that opening and that conversation is the invitation today through this book and continuing onward.
Yeah, I also felt that this book was very healing and some of what Sri Kaleshwar brought through because I was always sad. Like, first of all, it never made sense to me. It's like, oh, he has risen, but then he died again. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And so then when I learned, like, oh, he went to India, I was like, okay, that makes so much more sense to me on a soul level. But then I was like, why did Mary Magdalene go, with Joseph Arimathea to Avalon in the south of
Right.
France?
You
And
see what I'm saying? There's several timelines.
yes.
There's several timelines, and we can hold them all.
Hmm.
What we're doing is we're getting out of one reality or another, and then let's create warfare and kill each other over it.
Hmm.
Because that is a program of the negative forces. They love that. They love argumentation. They love strife. That is how they sail in. You know what I mean? And that they use the energies of the whole Sophia Christic mission for us to kill each other and be at each other's throats, right? And now, is it Islam? Is it Judaism? Is it Christianity? Is it paganism? Is it whatever it is? Oh my God. So, that's another thing I know we'll get to about the connection with the nature spirits
Mhm.
and all this, but and the unicorns. But you know, this is about unifying. This is about unifying, holding many possibilities at the same time as though it's one white light, and you pick what strand of the rainbow you want to work with at that particular time. Maybe you want to work with the timeline where Mary Magdalene went to France. Maybe you want to work with the timeline where she was martyred in Rome. Maybe you want to work with the timeline where she went to India and had more children with Jesus. Okay. It's all right, because what we're doing is we're getting at the essence of what they're all about and the mystery of multiple timelines,
I
which
love that.
holding that in and of itself opens our minds, doesn't it? Like, oh my gosh, you mean there could be multiple timelines? There's not one reality? Oh, just considering that like starts opening you into fifth dimensional consciousness,
Absolutely.
right? So that's what this is about here.
Yeah, that actually leads me into like another question. I have like a bunch of questions prepared, but one thing that I really loved about your book was this kind of description of like the cities and like these special, extraordinary powers that people can step into when they start working with the Holy Womb chakra. And it seems like what you're describing, these multiple timelines, these powers, this is beyond our normal everyday human comprehension. And yet, this is the world we're stepping into. This is
Yeah,
the reality
it
that we're
absolutely
being
is. And
taught.
and as and Elizabeth, as people start going into these practices in a more dedicated way, you will see stuff start to happen in your life.
Mhm.
You will see non-local events. You will see, seeming miracle things. I mean, I described several of them that happened to me in the book. I have seen them with clients. I have heard testimony about that. So you start seeing the 3D respond when you start doing these things in a dedicated way.
Absolutely. So I'm going to actually just read this beautiful quote from your book. For everyone, we're going back to Mother Mary. This is something that Marguerite brought through about Mary. So even more remarkably, we learn that she is a master in raising up the dead. Her means involve using Jesus's swaddling bands from infancy, his bath water, or his body. She draws on these sacred currencies, not only to bring two dead boys back to life, but also to perform an impressive list of feats, including performing several exorcisms, curing 3 cases of leprosy, reversing an act of sorcery, and healing 2 young men of infections. So these are remarkable Siddhic powers. And I'm just wondering for everyone here, can you describe more of these cities, more of these special abilities? And I feel like the audience, like so many people would see these are just make believe, or oh, maybe that was, that's what they said in the Bible, but that couldn't be real.
That's
From
right.
your book, I've come to understand, and from the teachings of Sri Kaleshwar, this is not make believe, this is real. Can you elaborate more on this?
That's right, because Sri Kaleshwar is telling us what these people accomplished that we also see in the Bible, we also see in the Gnostic sources, and Jesus says, all this and more will be possible for you. This is not just about me, right? Um, what he's describing is if you just go into the literature of the holy sainted people in Buddhism and in Hinduism, this is a list
Mhm.
of things that people have been recorded as accomplishing throughout time, right? And yes, these are like particular adepts who were at it, in their caves or whatever for a long time. But the thing is accelerating now. And we are able to do that more and more. And what I love about Sri Kaleshwar is the teachings that he extracted from these sacred palm leaf manuscripts, these manuscripts that were written on palm leaves that are thousands of years old, that he collected many of them. um, he's giving us the keys and the practices that we can start, because not only is there the whole holy womb chakra system that I teach and that others teach because I learned it from his lineage, but he has the 5 elements practice, which is all designed to get you into mastery, seemingly miracle mastery, with the elements of the earth, air, fire, water. This is what the great magicians of all time have been able to do, work in harmony with the clouds in order to have rain. I mean, the Native Americans were doing that, right? Um, work with the wind, uh, right? Work with fire. And we see that this can be misused all over the planet. Anytime there's some kind of conflagration or weird, um, inexplicable event, some bizarre tornado or some bizarre firestorm situation, that stuff is going down. They are working negative magic or negative high level technologies that we don't even have conscious access to, in our pedestrian world, right? So there's the use, there's the misuse. And so we're told none of this exists. Meanwhile, these negative wizards are using it all the time to their benefit. And we're like, oh, that's just the way it is. Oh, it's just the weather. Oh, this, oh, that, right? So we're all having the veils lifted off our eyes and our ears, and we are being shown steps that we can take very practically to, to get these healings and to get these empowerments. And incidentally, Elizabeth, at the end of each chapter, I lead people to a guided meditation that you can get for free, that bring you into an encounter with Mother Mary and or Mary Magdalene for your healing or your empowerment. So each one is calibrated to the theme of the chapter, and that starts getting your energies rolling.
I love that because I feel like you create a 5-dimensional experience
Mm.
for everyone who reads this book. I feel like the book is more than 3D, but I feel like having that guided journey with you, like having all of these different meditations, because I really feel like you are a divine channel for these beings to speak. And I feel like their medicine, their magic, it's so needed right now. I feel, and I know you, and this is kind of what's coming through. We are living at a pivotal time in Earth's history. Like I feel like 10 years from now, the world as we know is going to be unrecognizable. And I feel like it's the people who are choosing to step into their spiritual truth, into their greatness, into the light. I feel like we are the ones that are changing the planet. And that's part of why I think these teachings are so necessary and so needed right now. I'm wondering if you can talk to why these teachings are needed now more than ever before.
Well, we can all see how bizarre everything is, and this curiouser and curiouser path that we seem to be on. There's one more bizarre thing after another happening, some of which have had really dire ramifications in our lives. For example, over the last 4 years, And this is just intensifying.
Mhm.
And it's a symptom of the, like if anybody saw that show, The Bionic Man, like years ago, she's breaking up, she's breaking, where he's like in this space capsule or whatever it is. And it's like the intensity gets too much, or in that Jodie Foster movie where she's going into hyperspace or whatever. The shaking
Mhm.
happens and it's so intense that you feel like you're not going to survive. And you have to just breathe and ground and hold your way through it, and just have these preparations so that you know how to manage and flow above, below, and with these crazy vibrations. So yeah, I mean, we need grounding right now as well as the elevation in order to make it through and withstand everything that's happening, everything that literally is happening in 3D, and everything we're being told might happen, which already starts giving us a reality of upset on the inner planes, whether it's even happening or not, right? The illusion of it all. So we're so stressed, right? And then there's the whole money thing, right? That's got everybody going. Oh, take a breath and do a mantra, and call me in the morning is what we have to say to you. Okay? Because it's the simple step-by-step processes that are being suggested here, that many of you have been learning in other modalities, that many of you are figuring out yourself and or will. That's what's going to give you peace and equanimity every day. This is why Jesus was called Prince of Peace, because I've been thinking, a Prince of Peace, that's kind of boring, like what, that there's no razzle dazzle to that. But it's like, holy crap, that is what everybody wants, is peace. If you have peace, you have everything.
Mhm. I love that.
And this is what has what has stirred us up so that we do not have peace. Every time you turn on the news, every time you turn on a movie, whatever, um, your peace is disturbed. So all of this is designed to first and foremost get you to peace, get you in your feet, get you in your bodies, yes, because ascension has to do with being in the body as much as it has to do with opening your consciousness, being relaxed, and seeing with equanimity the play of the illusion all around us. Okay, and calling on these tools. So all these Mother Mary tools, all these Mother Mary insights, you want to be using them to your advantage.
I love that. I think that's kind of coming through. I wonder if you can speak to this, is people believing that peace is possible. Because one in our previous conversations, we've talked actually a lot about King Arthur, and I've had some kind of direct downloads that King Arthur really he really was a king of peace, because even though there was so much warfare, his role was to bring everyone together. His role was to sow peace. And I just feel like so many people, if you ask them, they wouldn't know this, but I think one of their main limiting beliefs is peace isn't possible.
That's right.
That's a dream. That's not real. And I feel that Yeshua's message, this is what I'm remembering. I've actually, like I mentioned earlier in the call, I've been to Jerusalem, and you can walk through the old city of Jerusalem. I visited the place where Jesus was interred before the crucifixion. And when I went into this place, I thought it would be so like heartbreaking or like traumatic. And instead, I just was filled. There was like a wash of peace that just like swept over me. And
Right.
I'm sharing this with you because I realize, like, when you're saying that he is the Prince of Peace, I feel that on a body level, on a soul level. And I'm wondering if you can speak to, I think part of the message that he's bringing through is, how can we believe that peace is possible? How can we dream together this new world where peace is an active ingredient, where we actually get to live and experience this in our lives?
That's right. Well, it's very simple. It starts with all of us individually. And what you want to do is continue to cultivate peace in your life. That is how you will know peace is possible in the world, when you start really deeply activating peace in your own life more and more and more. Don't worry about the world right now. Worry about whether you're feeling peaceful, and if you're not, how you can get to that state. And I just heard something today from Marcy Shimoff, I took her happiness course, and it's she has this Chinese proverb on her wall, which is like, one step leads to another, but it's like, your personal happiness leads to the well-being in your family. Your well-being in the family leads to your well-being in the nation. Your well-being in the nation leads to your well-being on in this world, or peace in this world was like the final thing. So steps along the way, like, okay, right. Most likely it's not going to happen overnight, just where we are right now with ourselves. But you can cultivate this over time. And
Mhm.
if you fall off the wagon, come back onto the wagon. Get back on the meditation cushion or go sit under a tree, relax your body, mind, spirit, and, you know, calm it.
Mhm.
Calm it. Get emotional regulation. Anything you can do for emotional regulation. This is why Mother Mary is a personal healer. That's why I call this book Divine Feminine Power for Personal Healing and Planetary Awakening. Subtitle, okay? Because that is a critical part of it. You can't do the spiritual bypass and just be like, I'm going to ascend. Oh, really? Well, you still got all this trauma response going on for you. You still need to cultivate your inner child. So all of these psychological, spiritual things that we've been doing, or that are available on the planet, all the great trauma work that's happening, the self-love work, that's all an essential part of it. And so just worry about getting peace in your own life, and then you will see, 100th monkey or whatever it is, at some point, there will be a phew, like an exponential uh, wave of peace that will go on in the planet. That's what we want to vision. And you want to affirm peace is possible in my life. I am peaceful. I am doing everything I need to be doing to experience peace every day. I love myself. I forgive myself if I am not feeling peaceful in any particular day due to stresses. I will get back on the rail of peace, okay? Those kinds of things.
I love that. That was so beautiful. While you were talking, I just felt that peace washing over me. So thank
Blessed be. And let me mention, Elizabeth, that these are the kinds of things, these several pods of exploration we're going to be doing in my Mary and Magdalene priestess training that I know we've communicated with you about, that starts in September and is enrolling now. And so, we're working it at all the levels, the personal level, um, the spiritual mystery level, and the ascension level, right? And the character level, because we want to be developing our virtues again,
you.
right? We've been cut off from even thinking that virtues are good things because they sound so boring now and they just seem so Catholic or whatever. It's like, oh, I want nothing to do with it. But no, like really opening the door to, all these seven virtues and how we cultivate them and how those are our greatest source of decision making in the direction of peace every day, right? And they are our greatest protection, the love and all of that, the compassion. So it's a several fold process that I'm helping to lead people through, for 6 months starting in September. So definitely go to the Seven Sisters Mystery School website and you'll see more about that. And we can talk about that if you want, but I want us to continue on
Yeah,
with.
I know we'll definitely talk more about that at the end, but I just kind of want to just make a comment here. I think it's so powerful that you are like helping people step into their goodness. And I remember like one of the lines in your book, I don't know if you were quoting someone, if it was your direct language, but like how Yeshua and Mary, it's like they held, it was like the same virtue and valor. And I love that because I pay attention to the alliteration, the virtue and the valor. And I just, as again, someone who loves all the King Arthur stories, I felt that so deeply. And I think so many people, again, like in the collective, are programmed to believe that humanity is bad. And it's so interesting, especially, I feel like one of the reasons why I feel like Yeshua is such a great teacher is that restoration of the divine masculine. And I know so many men who will say, men are terrible, we're terrible. And it's like, How could you say that? And I think so when you're describing in like the 6 month the priestess training that you're going to be doing, like helping people step into like that understanding of the virtues. I
Yeah.
think we need to claim once more, we are good. We are not just good, we are virtuous, we are great, and we own this unapologetically. And that's
Yes.
something I feel like you are also really speaking to here.
Yes, because cultivating our inner virtues is a stepping stone to opening back to our divine angelic blueprint.
Hmm. I love
Okay. And it's not about whether we're good or bad, naughty or nice. It's like, how do we want to live in our body? You know, about returning to integrity and feeling safe and good with that, not like I'm going to be stepped all over if I have this virtuous behavior, right? There's so many programs that have gone on to discourage us from having virtues and valor. But like, even just thinking about those words, like put them on post-it notes on your computer. Virtues, valor, and just let them seep in. What does that mean for you? That was Maximus, by the way, who wrote a biography on Mother Mary that was probably taken from these very old texts and so forth, where I got a lot of information that parallel what Sri Kaleshwar said about Mother Mary, which is so great. Um, but yeah, virtue and valor, and this is what the knights were about. This is what the ladies and lords were originally about. This is what the king and the queen were originally about. And look at how the attack and the co-opting has happened. So we're just trying to get all that stuff off of us. We're calling on Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene and Jesus to do exorcisms of us if need be. And look, Mary Magdalene went through it herself. She
it.
had 7 demons removed of her because, it's tough being in this world and getting your chakras attacked, and she needed a little help, and we all do. So like, ask for this clearing from these great master ally friends, so that you can go more deeply into your healing and expand into your virtue and your valor.
Hmm. I love that. So I actually want to ask another question about Mother Mary here. Because I feel like it's so funny. This whole talk is supposed to be about Mary, and I feel like we haven't gone as deeply into her yet as we
Let's
could.
do.
So, okay, so here's my question. Though Mary was destined to bring Jesus into this world through immaculate conception and divine birth, her life was so much more than that. Can you speak to the legacy that Mother Mary left behind and the ways her teachings and life story have most touched you?
Yeah. Okay, so there's a historical piece and a personal piece. So let me just start with the historical. So that's what this book is all about, showing us how Mother Mary lived, how she taught, how she healed, right? How she ascended, her ministry during Jesus' life, and then after the crucifixion, wherever it is that he went, and how she was the leader of the whole Christian quote unquote enterprise, this whole group. She was the leader. I've started saying, well, she was the first pope, if you will, if we want to use that nomenclature, which I don't really even want to. She was the first high priestess of the Christ enterprise. And she was doing a lot of stuff. She was mentoring the women and the men to go out and be teachers of this teaching and this information. She was she would have them come back, at Easter time, and shoot the breeze with them and find out how it was going, probably give them a lot of counsel and guidance. She was a stepmother, an honored stepmother. She was an honored mother-in-law of Mary Magdalene.
Mhm.
This is all in the book, right? Like, how could this all be, But when you put the pieces together step by step, it's like, oh, well, that makes logical sense. And, here's this suppressed information that's been floating around in these ancient texts for quite a while. Let's bring this all out to the light. Like, scholars have kind of done it for a while. And I really thank like Ali Cattouz, a beautiful Marian scholar, that I went into her scholarly books and kind of did some more like translation into more common language for everybody of what the meaning of what she has been unearthing through the iconography and through the text. All right. So that's just to look a little bit at the historical Mother Mary. And then for me personally, um, this has been a journey of several decades because when I started doing the research in divine birth back in the 1990s, no, the 2000s, it started in 2001. You know, this was very much an academic pursuit, although I was starting to work with sacred medicine, so I was accessing realms and information. But I really wanted to focus on, well, what does the text say about Mother Mary? What do the texts say? And then put my intuition into it. And along the way, I mean, pretty much though, really from the beginning, because I was working with a women's spirituality program decades ago in the Boston area, and they were having us do experiences of being with the goddesses. And guess who was one of the modules? Mother Mary, and it's like, oh my gosh, Mother Mary is a goddess. Wow. Doors opening. So I was working with that on a quasi experiential level, but the experiential level started getting more and more parallel and 50% with the academic level as the years rolled on. And I was working and playing and cavorting with these other priests and priestesses who had Marian practices and ministries and devotions and things like that. And I learned from them too, like Diana Marie Kelly and Mary Beth Moser, and one of my mentors, Lucia Chiavala Birnbaum, Charlene Spretnak, all of
Mm.
whom I mention in one way or another in the book. And so I started realizing, oh, I can go deeper and deeper and deeper with Mother Mary as my healer, my mother, because that's a whole other story, and my mentor. And so I've been doing that sequentially. Then in 2017, when I went to Sri Kaleshwar's teachings through Cindy Lindsay, my teacher, and learned about the Holy Womb Chakra system, I was in tears, shocked that Mother Mary was connected with all of this. And that's when I really went on an even deeper accelerated level with these personal communications with Mother Mary. And, lately in recent months, in addition to the working with her personally to heal my inner child wounds and things like that, and working with her in meditations almost on a daily basis, then I've been going into medicine state, high priestess state with medicines to really open up and be like, whoa, okay, let me look in the astral Akashic record plane at all these things I've been looking at, right? Because I did not get much of my information from the astral plane. I really was focusing, I wanted it grounded in the scholarship, in the text, and then I would go in. So it's only now, this is like the newest chapter where I'm really opening, and I've done a few oracle sessions, like I just did a specialized one. Some of the people here were in that on Tuesday for the Magdalene event, where I really opened the door to like, who are the Marys? What's this all about? Right? Who's the third Mary? Mary Padagita, Mother Mary's sister, right? And it's just like, oh my God, right? Like I started getting all these further downpours, which I love. So this has been a process, on every level. And when I get frightened, when I get nervous, when I get anxious, I mean, I call on Mother Mary. Help me, hold me, put me in your womb, right? So it's very personal and it's very galactic.
Mm. I love that. So one thing that's also kind of coming through, because you were talking about Mother Mary, really is this agent of great healing, this goddess of great healing. And also, I just feel like to me, there's just like a magic about everything that she brings forth. And like that mothering energy reminds me so much of the goddess Isis. And I know in the book you also mentioned there's a connection between Isis and Isis and Mother Mary. I'm wondering if you can elaborate more on that deep connection between Isis and Mother Mary. How have you experienced the two of them together, and is there a similarity?
See, this is such another healing because it's like there doesn't have to be a division between the Egyptian pantheon, the Christian pantheon, the goddess pantheon, the Islamic pantheon, the Jewish pantheon, Well, it was Rudolf Steiner who said that Mother Mary is the reincarnation of Isis. at like a new octave, essentially. So, and Sri Kaleshwar says that Mother Mary, he says she had millions of lifetimes. Okay. The penultimate lifetime was Isis, and the ultimate lifetime was Mother Mary.
Mm.
This woman's been working it.
Just
Okay. Because she's
magical healing every
now
lifetime.
she's like, now I got to go into the Egyptian magic thingy. I got to go experience that whole thing. I've got to do the Horus Osiris business. I got to heal up all that perfidy with, those males, like, two timing the goddesses and so forth and so on. And then I'm going to get all the way to where I'm going to be Mother Mary. And I am so sovereign and I am so hermaphroditic that I can do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Shoo. But that's why Isis holding Horus on her lap is like, people are like, gee, there's a similarity there. It's like, well, yeah, okay, she's the previous incarnation. She was learning along the way, perfecting herself, then came back in a new lifetime where she's like, this is the lifetime. Okay. And so that's a pathway, for all of us. And I don't think we're going to necessarily have to need millions of lifetimes because she's already done that work for us. It's like all the monks who've done all that work for years and years and years, banging drums and doing the Om and whatever. They're helping us to go quicker, which is something we need now. Right. But you just want to look at the patterning of how that happened. Like, wow, she had the long-term picture. Right? I mean, this is we're talking about hundreds and thousands of years. That's another long-term picture we need to have. Like, even if we don't perfect everything in this lifetime, even if when we leave the planet, the world is not exactly as how we would want to look at it, eternity is a long time, and there's a lot that can happen during the eternity cycle. So, like, just keep the faith, keep your vision, not only for this lifetime, but for your lifetime and lifetimes beyond, and for the world's lifetimes beyond. This is how big we are becoming. We are becoming big like Mother Mary. We are opening her umbrella and then moving the umbrella and opening the vault of the cosmos. That's what we're doing, allowing this and allowing just these thoughts even to expand us so exponentially.
Thank you for that. I have a question because it's interesting as you're talking, like, connecting more Isis and Mother Mary. I know Isis has to take a very active role to resurrect Osiris. Um,
Right.
and I also know that Mother Mary, one of the things in this book, you describe her, I wrote this down, she is the initiator and orchestrator of Jesus's birth and resurrections. That's a very active role. And I think usually we attribute that active principle more with the divine masculine. So I'm wondering if you can speak to this like principle of action that we see in Isis, that we see in Mother Mary. How does this relate to the feminine? You share more about
Because where it's coming from is the womb.
okay.
It's not coming from the third chakra of will,
Mhm.
right? Which is a more masculine valenced kind of chakra and the mind. It's coming from the womb. So Isis's powers of resurrection and reconstitution of Osiris were coming from the womb. And it's encoded, the whole thing was sexual. I mean, the last piece she got was his phallus. And then Mother Mary, these are all womb practices, the holy womb chakra practices, which is what Sri Kaleshwar has opened up for us to understand, that the womb is a magical vessel and transmitter. It's a receiver and a transmitter. It's a transformer and transmuter. And there are so many things we can do with it. And that is why he's resurrected these purification practices for the womb, these cleansing practices, and then these mantric practices where you absorb the power of these mantras into your body, mind, spirit so that you can do magical things, right? And so that's what it's all about. That's why it's it's the yin yang balanced when you're working with the womb magic.
Yeah.
Okay. And one thing I haven't really looked at, Elizabeth, is that connection between Isis reconstituting Osiris and Mother Mary reconstituting Jesus. I'm just inviting everybody who's familiar with either of those or both of those processes or stories even to just take a look yourself. Like, oh, the valence and characteristics of what Isis were doing, and what are the angles of that, and what was she working with in that rung of the spiral in that timeline, and then how was Mother Mary doing it? And you can see it's like a continued refinement of the process, you know, because what we're told is Isis literally had to resurrect pieces of Osiris that were all over the place,
Mhm.
the final one being the phallus, whereas by the time it's Mother Mary and Jesus, it's not so much carnage, right? Like scattered all over. It's like, okay, he was disturbed in his body, but he wasn't castrated. Okay. And they had gotten to another level with this whole drama that
Mm.
these negative influencers uh, activate on the planet. And they're like, okay, we're going to do it this way this round. And then, oh, boom, the divine avatars can have their ascension, and we can open the doorway, you know, to other people doing this. So I'm speaking kind of esoterically, but I think that anybody who's connected at all with these stories, you can start getting
Getting
the information
connections.
yourself. Yeah.
And it's one thing that I think I'm remembering from your book. I think this was about the part of the crucifixion. I know that we were talking about, Yeshua stops like breathing. It's like, I think it's like 9 minutes before he's about to
Yeah,
leave.
9.
I think you said that he like was also scattering pieces of himself, but there was one piece of the body that, I don't know if it was the body or the soul that he kept inside.
It's one piece of his soul that he kept in the body.
And that
Took
is kind of
literally
similar.
he extracted it all.
Mm,
It's not Seth that scattered it all out to the winds. He extracted his soul, kept one little, you know, piece of it in there so that he could get back in, and Mother Mary could help him get back in. That is Atma Khandana Yoga.
mm. That's what I think is so amazing. I just also love for everyone like listening. I feel like Marguerite's work bridges. It's like the divine birth tradition in the Hebrew tradition, the Hindu tradition, even like the ancient Greek tradition, and how all of this sacred technology was known to the ancient people. And this is actually a good segue because I did want to ask. I know that in your book you say that this technology came from the stars. Can
Yeah.
you speak more to this so that everyone who's hearing this for the first time, they understand just like this is galactic. This is galactic technology that is really here for the dawning of the new age, for the love, for the light.
That's right. Yes, these are galactic technologies. These are angelic technologies that have to do with the reproduction of the angel who is both male and female.
Mm.
And so one of the greatest perfidies that happened on the planet was the splitting of the divine human into male and female when we used to be one sovereign whole. And this is something I've talked about all year for the past year in my courses, that I've talked about, you know, publicly and so forth. And we have been healing that split ever since. So what you have to do is when a limb is cut off from your tree, you have to regrow the limb. And that is what we are doing with some of these Gnostic practices. And that's like one of the things we're going to be doing in the Marian Magdalene Priestess training. And I've gotten us started on some of these other courses. The bridal chamber, it's like developing out your other half, right? Whatever it is. And so we want to recultivate our yin yang, our whole yin yang, because that's when we can access this angelic knowing, these womb processes, and they're known throughout the whole entire hologram, because the whole entire hologram is a womb. It's
Mm.
Mother Divine, okay? And so where we see it astrally is like in the story of the Pleiades, which I've started talking about much more lately, the connection of the Pleiades and Mother Mary. We're going to go into that and have experiences with that in the Marian Magdalene Priestess training. And you know, because the story of the 7 sisters of the Pleiades, these 7-star women from these different worlds of the Pleiades who all are like, we've got to go help planet Earth. You know, we've, the Pleiades have a long history with us, some of it good, some of it not good. And they're like, we got to use our womb power to help out. And so so many of the stories around the world, including the ancient Greek, talk about the seven sisters of the Pleiades coming in to the planet, be it phasing in or whatever it is, their light body, they're like, boom, here I am. And they started doing divine conception so that they could give these children out to the world who could then reproduce with others. So it is a very physical DNA thing. Okay. They have to get the DNA physical codes into humanity, which is why Jesus had to come and unite with Mary Magdalene and have issue children to give the codes to humanity. All right, that was the purpose of that. Mother Mary and Grandmother Anne gave birth to Mother Mary parthenogenetically. Mother Mary gave birth to Jesus parthenogenetically, and then the other Mary united tantrically with the divine master to get his children going. Okay, because it only needs one seed to spread all over the planet. And that is what has been going on. Now, of course, they've tried to hijack those lineages at every step and possible way and so forth. But this is what we're dealing with. It's the unification of the spirit and the actual physical body down to our DNA, which of course is magical and astral anyway. Okay. But these are star being technologies. The Pleiades knew about them. They gave us a big infusion of this light, and Mother Mary is the 8th Pleiad. That's one thing I just recently received in Oracle State. She's the 8th dove sister, dove mother of the world by bringing in Jesus. Okay, the other ones brought in whoever, uh, Hermes, the founder of Sparta, the founder of Troy, all this and that. And that's just in the Greek tradition. They were kind of all over the world. They created founder race. They were founder race people. All right. So when we talk about founder races, it's like, God damn it, it's not just all about these technological male people that they're talking about, how they're talking about the builder races and whatnot and so on. And it's all a male game. Seven sisters of the Pleiades, hello. The mothers of our world, majorly. A major incursion of that, and they did it through divine birth.
Yes.
Okay, now there's another complication there because they were hijacked and intercepted while they were trying to do that. So reptilian Anunnaki information came into their DNA. So they did give birth to hybrids. They had to because they were raped. Okay, now this, I'm just talking at very deep levels. Some of you who've been following me with this are getting it. Some of you who've been getting this in your own way are getting it. And for others, this is like, wow, oh my God. Just chew on this all.
Yeah, no, I think that everyone who's listening, whether that's like that sounds like something that resonates for you, or like that sounds like something that you haven't heard before, I invite you just like take what resonates right now and to like just stay open to the wisdom that Marguerite is bringing through, because Marguerite is an incredible oracle and channel. She's been researching this for decades. So, and not just like the academic research, but like you are such an accomplished oracle and divine channel. So what you're bringing through, I know, is in such integrity, is something that you have learned, and you don't share things that you don't 1,000% believe that you have experienced.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And it's been a really challenging road, and I continue to work really hard every day, at my own healing too, because I've got a whole boatload of stuff that I describe in the book. With my own traumas and things like that. So it's like a continual process. It is just no cakewalk every day. It's like, oh, today, am I going to be anxious or am I going to be in my higher self? So I know this path very well.
Yeah.
And I guess that is part of how I can help others, because I have chutzpah.
Yes.
I have the chutzpah needed to move this onto the planet, essentially.
I have like,
And I'm not the only one, everybody here is their own oracle in one way or another. And there are many other wise women, and you and men. You, Elizabeth, are one of them, and you know what I mean? So it's like we're kind of doing this together. I might just be giving us like a really good shot of vitamin D or whatever
And
it
I
is.
feel like you're the rocket that's like going up to space for us. You're like,
Okay.
don't worry, I'm getting you to the truth. I
All right.
I I just feel like you are a truth teller. Like I just feel like that is what you are. And it's like a divine truth teller.
Mm.
And I just want to share because I have a couple more questions. I don't know if you need to go, if you have a little bit more
No,
time.
I have more time. Yeah.
Okay. Because one thing that again, like I had like truth bumps is when I was reading the beginning of the book, everything about Sarah, the, woman that we believe, in the Bible was Abraham's wife. Like, or maybe I should say, I believed until I read Marguerite's book that that she was the wife of Abraham. But when you put out there that actually no, like the birth of Isaac was not through Abraham, but was an, immaculate conception, divine birth. I literally was like, I was glued. I felt like my soul had to keep reading. I could not stop. So I'm wondering if you can speak because I love when you use the word chutzpah. I was like, okay, this is my cue. We're going back to Sarah here. So I'm wondering if you can share more about because I feel like you are the leading edge expert on divine birth. And for me, that was mind blowing that it wasn't just, like we're talking about Mother Mary. This is a tradition. This was a practice that was known. And I feel like so many people know that story of Sarah and Abraham and Isaac, and they don't know the real story. And when you put it out there, I was like, oh my God, at last I understand this story never made sense to me before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
In growing up in Christianity and even Judaism, we have these pesky little stories about women who conceive in their elder years by the grace of God, but da 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 da. Well, put it all together and with all my research, and it's like I realized, well, something was going on. I mean, this was not just, oh, they prayed and they got pregnant. No. I mean, these women, first of all, were high holy adepts. Sarah, you go into it, there's this whole beautiful book written by Savina Tuval, Sarah the priestess, and I drew on a lot of that for my analysis. We have Mother Mary's mother Anne. We have Mother Mary's probable aunt, Elizabeth, the sister of Anne, who gave birth to John the Baptist. Like, what are all these stories about? And then you start looking at the Zipporah and Leah and Rachel and their stories, and they're kind of curious as well. And so um, I put it all together, and especially in the mystery tradition of miraculous conception, the book that came out 3 years ago, the precursor to this Secret Life of Mother Mary. I put it all together with all the research that I did in ancient Greece and globally and say, oh, this is part of a worldwide phenomenon of high priestesses who had retained the star knowledge of womb, magical womb conception, and they were engaging it. And they were a lot of times doing it in sovereign fashion as virgins, if you will. These so-called husbands of theirs were just guardian consorts. Okay. Taking care, guarding the perimeter, that type of thing. And or it could be that some of them were engaged in tantric practices. Okay. So yeah, I mean, lifting the veils, looking with new eyes in ways that make suddenly have the whole thing make sense. Like, oh, this isn't just some bizarre made up Catholic story that, Mother Mary gave divine conception to Jesus so that the Christian church could have its way on the planet. I mean, the whole thing was being run by women in consort with these male cooperatives, priests, protectors, and so forth. And that's what we're starting to uncover here together.
Yeah, I have a quote that I have a question afterwards that I want to open up here. So on page 48 of your book, you say, remarkably, Kaleshwar asserts that all women can access this original creative energy of the mother. Woman's womb chakra make women walking representatives of Mother Divine, but most of us do not realize that yet. And so to me, this begs the question, what does it really mean to be a woman? Wondering if you can shed some light on that, considering like everything you're talking about this lineage of divine birth, this like sacred secret knowledge that is finally coming back to the planet right now. And this power of the womb, what does it really mean to be a woman here on earth right now?
Right. Well, a woman is a soul who has come into incarnation into a being that is going to have a womb and therefore be more on the valence of the feminine in terms of the divine hermaphrodite that was originally split.
Mm.
Okay, so people make a choice. Which gender do they want to come into, and all this and that, and then that brings up the whole gender confusion thing right now. That's a whole related but separate topic. And then that person wants to have certain experiences as the female, as the one who carries the womb, and so forth and so on. And for those of us who incarnated recently and are hearing this and are in this lifetime, you're now learning that there's a lot more to being a woman than you ever realized. And you can have the codes returned to you of the magic that is in the womb that was the benefit, that when the hermaphrodites split, the females got the benefit, okay, because they got most of the stuff and they got the spirit energy, right, of feminine Sophia. The males were a little, okay, a little left out, in the dark and had to, right? So what we're learning now is we can amplify these womb powers, we can become the divine hermaphrodite, and we can help with the healing of ourselves and this planet through these various practices and really take advantage of the fact that we were born with wombs and that we can partake of that particular energy. Now, the Holy Womb Chakra teachings are open to men also. I've taught them to men. There were men in my class who took it with me because males have the fragrance of the Holy Womb, and they can access the Holy Womb through their mother line, or a female soulmate, be it a lover or a non-sexual partner or whatever. Okay, so again, open to everyone.
So yes, I love that. So it's this womb magic is beyond the feminine. This womb magic, I feel like there really is this like Sophia energy that you're describing, like the creatrix of all life. And
Yes,
so it sounds like whether we have like a physical womb or it's like a spiritual womb, if we're male, it's that portal that is like source energy. And
yes.
it's opening to the power of that in this lifetime. That's what it sounds like you're saying.
That's right. And partaking more of the energies of the sacred feminine that are available to us that we have been cut off from for millennia.
Mhm.
And really recultivating, reconnecting that back into our reality, that back into our world. Okay, so that's the enterprise that we're all engaged in here.
Okay, I love that. So I have like just another kind of quick question, and then I know we're gonna wrap up. And like, I also have one. I may have two more questions, but one kind of just dropped in. It was like 20 minutes ago. It dropped in. And I wanted to ask it. We were talking more about. I think it was more Mary Magdalene, but I was thinking about like you mentioned the bridal chamber. And I realized, like, while you were talking, this bridal chamber was a place of high holy magic. And it reminded me even of like the bridal chamber of like, the Queen of Sheba and like King Solomon. And I just was feeling like, wow, when we were talking earlier about the virtues, it seems like there's like an ecstatic energy of the bridal chamber that to me is very virtuous, that is like that highest of the high energy. And most of us, like when we think of sacred sexuality, it's like we can't even comprehend the ecstasy of that like divine bridal chamber that like Yeshua and Mary Magdalene would have experienced. I'm wondering, like, I think it sounds like these holy womb chakra teachings open us to the sacredness of that divine bridal chamber. It sounds like the more work that we do with Yeshua, with Mary Magdalene, the more that opens up to us. So I was wondering if you could talk about the high holy ecstasy of the
Yeah.
bridal chamber, if that is something that you can speak to.
Right. So in order to have um, the most high vibrational bridal chamber with a partner, we have to have really gone through the authentic bridal chamber within ourselves.
Mhm.
And that's like a continuous process. Because when we when we get to the stage in our lives in this lifetime, or when humanity gets to the stage where we perfect that inner hermaphrodite, and we all do it, then the coming together with the partner who is a two, it's like coming together as four, and then what happens there is truly exponential, both energetically and in terms of the spirits that you can call into the earth plane through the woman's womb, should a conception, you know, uh, consciously take place, right? So this is the vision that we want to hold. And again, even if we feel like, well, I'm going to pass from this lifetime without ever fully having accomplished that, every step of the way that you take toward marrying yourself, you know, cultivating your other yang or your yin, is money in the bank for future lives. So just know that. Don't despair. That's the thing. This is a long-term project. It spans lifetimes, just like the Marys and Magdalene's activities spanned lifetimes. Have patience with yourself. Know you're doing the best you can to get to as peaceful, and elevated a place as you can when you leave your body in this lifetime. And then, your soul has a choice. Am I going to come back into the earth plane, or what am I going to do? And this is part of the awakening of the consciousness, the fact that this actually does even happen, right? That it's not just one life. You only have one life to live. Wow, that is a meme that we want to just be like, "Chunk." I don't want to be in that reality. Okay. Um, so that's just a little bit to address your question.
Thank you. So I know that before we go, I know you wanted to talk about, I think, the unicorn and the angelic realms that were actually really connected to Mother Mary. So I'm
Yeah.
just hoping you can shine some light on that.
Yeah, because, Elizabeth, you and I have spoken about the nature spirits, the elementals, the fae, the fairies, the she, and how it's all connected with the King Arthur realms, which are an iteration of the Jesus Magdalene, unification and so forth. So, I have a whole chapter devoted to Mary's connection with the subtle realms of nature, and how even in medieval times in Europe, they sensed this by the fact that every single flower known to humanity had a Mary association. Either it was named after her, or it was connected to an event in her life, or a season of her life, or something like that. And to these ancient tapestries that were woven, on which there would be this sacred virgin, and on a millefleur design, which is like thousands of flowers, right? Thousands of plants. That was expressing the realm of the fae. And who would be in there? The sacred virgin. She was right in there. She was the high priestess of that realm. And so I talk about how these various tapestries, and not just the sad ones in the cloisters of New York, but the really amazing ones in the Cluny Museum of France, of Paris, uh, take us through an initiation that we are going to experience in the Mary and Magdalene priestess training, by the way, accessing the divine realms through each of the senses, again, uniting body and spirit. And that one of the major features there is the unicorn. One of the major allies is the unicorn. We have the lion and the unicorn. The lion we can all get with, okay, we've seen lions, we know they are on the earth plane. The unicorn, I don't know, what is that all about? So I've recently started, opening my oracle to that, and some remarkable information came through on Tuesday about the unicorns, what they are, why they would have been working with virgins and Mary, why they would have been hunted down ruthlessly, why they are no longer visible on the earth plane to those only with three-dimensional sight, and where we're going with them now. All of which we're going to be looking at in the Mary and Magdalene priestess training, okay? But you'll get more clues in that chapter of The Secret Life of Mother Mary. And I invite you to start opening your own oracle to this. And many of you probably are already connected with the unicorns, or know that they, have some sense of them or whatever. This, of course, is one of the most ridiculed areas of knowledge. Like we're starting our healing with the fairies. Like, okay, that's not so bad anymore. We got lots of people talking about fairies and unicorns. I don't know. That sounds a little crazy. That sounds a little fanciful. But you'll see in the book, there were great thinkers and seers who knew they were real. Hildegard of Bingen, for example, and others. Why? How were they on the earth plane? Where did they go? What happened? Okay. Cliffhanger.
I know. It's like to be continued. I was like, I know you had me on the edge of my seat. I'm like, the unicorns. Because I feel like the unicorns for me, they're just such great heart healers. And like they bring you back to
Totally.
that sacred innocence.
Totally. They are sacred innocence and grace.
Yes,
That's what I
absolutely.
received, that they are, that their medicine card medicine is grace.
Yeah. And I know that in the past, we've also spoken about Eden before. I really feel like the unicorns really bring through those Eden frequencies.
Yeah.
It's that return to innocence. Also, like I feel like erotic innocence. It is just that I just feel like the return to the sweetness of the human heart and soul. And so, Marguerite, I'm so excited that like you're doing this work with the unicorns. I feel like because I know you did. I watched in the beginning of this year, you did something for the year of the dragon. Um,
Yes.
but I love that I feel like you are on the leading edge bringing through the unicorns because I think
Yeah.
we've been in that dragon fierceness and it's time, I think, to surrender to the magic, the sweetness, the grace,
Yes.
you said, of the
I
unicorn.
could almost cry because they really are the innocence, and they are our own innocence. Brutally massacred, but restorable. You see, anything that has been destroyed can be resurrected. And that is the message of Jesus and Mother Mary.
Yeah, you're actually bringing like tears to my eyes. I'm just gonna, I love that you said that because, side note, this is a bit of a tangent, but there's actually a man, who's like, he's called a leprechaun whisperer. And he said that right now there are only, I think 200 and like 60 something leprechauns left. And
I,
so when I heard that, I was just like, no, my heart. And
yeah.
so I feel like because of just like the
Yeah.
problems between humanity and the other world, sometimes it feels
Yeah.
like so sad. How will we ever repair this? And when you said that, that is like, again, going back to Isis, it's that resurrection magic.
Right.
I think that's so
That's
beautiful.
right.
You can
We
speak
are
to.
going to do Atma Kandana Yoga and Parakaya Pravesh on the unicorns, on the fairies, on the leprechauns, on all of those Edenic creatures. And we are going to restore Eden. We're going to get a good chunk of the way there before we leave our earthly bodies in this lifetime.
Thank you. I really, again, like, I feel like you are like the sacred guide, sacred teacher leading the way. Because, like, restoring Eden is one of my big missions as well. And so many people, they say that's just pretty words, but it's not. It's I really feel this is a
Yeah.
soul mission, this is a soul directive. And I just really want to really honor you for what you just shared about really bringing back these beautiful beings, the unicorns, the fae, the leprechauns, and restoring Eden because I think humanity needs this. Humanity, in our heart of hearts, we miss this.
Yeah.
I think we're searching for something, looking for something that we don't know how to find. And I feel like, Marguerite, you are one of the people opening the door. You are that sacred way shower. So
That's
thank
it.
you.
Well, it's my great hard-won honor, to be here. Like, I mean, it's just there's been so much humility and humiliation, really, as a part of this path. And humility is one of the virtues. So, Marguerite needed that one. All right. She needed to come into alignment. All right. So she wouldn't get too high on her horse, too high on her unicorn. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no,
So it's a path that's open to all of us. I'm a way shower. It's my honor to be that. And we all live our human lives.
yes. And so for people who want to go deeper on this path, step one, go out, get this book and work through, like Marguerite is going to talk about this in a second. At the end of every chapter, there's a link to go listen to a meditation. And this is beginning your journey of healing and resurrection with Mother Mary. So I wonder if you can speak to the activations that are at the end of every chapter.
Yes, they are basically, very but personal. They're very much on the personal healing level, accessing Mary as your mother and so forth and so on. But we get into some more mystical things like chanting the sacred name of Mary and
Mm.
what that does for you as a mantra, um, and other things. I have to actually go back and look at what are the meditations, but a lot of them were recorded during my Mary and Magdalene Empowerment Circle, which is a monthly ongoing thing, for a low subscription price. If anybody wants to join that, you can go to sevensistersmysteryschool.com and you can find out about that. So if you're like, you're not so sure about all this, but you want to just get a taste, come and be with us the third Thursday of every month, and you'll get a new, refreshing, the themes are continually new each month. But some of these meditations are tasters of what we've done in that circle over the last few years.
Yes, that sounds so amazing for people who want to go deeper with Marguerite. But I think if people want to go even deeper with you, it sounds like this priestess training is going to be off the charts amazing. So
Yeah.
this is, like you said, I think it's a 6-month priestess training with Mary, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene. Can you speak more to this, the kind of transformation people can experience in this program?
You're going to be able to physically and energetically encounter, work, and play with all of the principles that I've been talking about today and more, making them your own. And then going into, they are establishing or encouraging you to be your own creative priestess in the world, however that is, whether it's personally in your family or, within yourself, personally within your family, or in a more kind of public way. Um, and we're going to be, exploring and playing with what is it to elevate our characters? What is it to go through these Gnostic initiations? Some of which is going to be with simple, accessible medicines. There's an optional retreat in person in October in New York. Okay. Um, and you're going to be transformed in ways that I can I can describe in this registration page, but none of us really knows. But just know that it is going to be a magical, personal, and even professional transformation for you to really step into and walk the path of the Mary and the path of the Magdalene. What does that mean for you personally? Okay, because it's going to be somewhat individual. But I think you're going to feel a lot better and a lot more empowered after you go through this training, and have a lot more purpose and direction and resources available, for this spiritual walk that you're on.
Yeah. We have people writing in the chat how much they recommend Marguerite. And I just want to say,
You. Yeah.
no, thank you. I just want to share. I mean, I have this question because I think there are so many priestess trainings out there right now. And for me, when I'm like, what makes Marguerite's program unique? Well, one, it's Marguerite. It's like it's Marguerite, all of the wisdom, all of the expertise and the knowledge. But I just would also love to hear, from anyone in the audience who's thinking, oh, there are a lot of, Mary Magdalene priestess trainings. Like, what makes this one so very special and unique? I want people to know.
Right. Well, I know others might comment, but first of all, I have never seen one that has Mother Mary in it.
Mm.
Like, become the Mary priestess. What is that? What does that mean? By the way, I have a free call coming up on August 6th. That is a free masterclass just about that. What is a Mary priestess? What is a Magdalene priestess? And is this a path for you? So you can go to that page, which if I had been thinking of it, I would have put it in the chat, but go to sevensistersmysteryschool.com, go to the page, for the training, and you'll scroll down a little bit. You'll see that free call. You can go onto that or watch it in replay. And that will, that is where I'm going to articulate a lot more of this. And what are these paths all about? We have fireworks going on in the middle of the day in July. Um, and so, there's the Mother Mary aspect. There's the unification of the Mary and Magdalene. I think that makes it a unique program. And then all of these Gnostic mysteries, the whole unicorn initiation cycle. I don't know that there are other trainings that quite put them together this way. And it's just going to be one of incredible mutual discovery where you all are in the driver's seat or the unicorn saddle, essentially. All
I
right.
think we all want to get in the unicorn saddle. It's like
Yeah.
we're lining up for it.
Somebody is asking. So I'll say Seven Sisters Mystery School.com. Did I put that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
also
okay,
share
great,
this
thanks.
interview with
Oh, and somebody and your beautiful, support team put in the direct link to the training, which is great. And thank you so much for allowing me to talk about that because we're in like that critical window. The registration concludes April 28th and the training starts September 10th, 2024. Okay. I'd love
Okay.
to have you in it if you are feeling aligned for this. It's going to be exciting. It's not going to be an onerous, a lot of work training.
Mhm.
It's not a ton of hours. It's not like a whole bunch of homework. A lot of the stuff gets done in the live classes. There are some supplemental pieces that you can do on your own. You could even watch the modules in replay if you can't be with us live. There are some optional sister circle sharing circles that we have each month for you to get to know each other. So it's going to be enjoyable. That's the thing. Like,
Mhm.
no hard work, just pleasure.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to just say someone also noted this in the chat. I think Marguerite, I think you accidentally said April
Oh,
28th.
sorry.
August 28th.
Oh my God. I'm so like, woo, right now that, yeah,
No
April.
worry, no, we were gonna make sure the right date was in the chat
Okay.
and for everyone
Thank
who's
you.
listening to this on the replay.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I just wonder, thank you so much, Margaret, for being here with us. Do you have any final closing words of wisdom that you'd like to share with the audience?
You are all the Marys, you are all the Magdalens, you are all the Christed ones. And just follow the path of joy to explore what that means for you and to keep opening the doors, your inner doors, to be able to live that.
Mm.
That's one thing. And also just to honor you, Elizabeth, and thank you for the amazing continuous work you've been doing through the offerings that you've been creating for people and the collaborations that you've been doing. You truly are a mystical, blessed priestess, woman, fairy, and more, and Mary on the planet.
Thank you. No, I received that in my heart of hearts. Thank you. And I just want to say again, what an honor it is to connect with you today. And what an honor it is to stand with you and spread this message from Mother Mary. I want to just share like side note, this whole week I kept hearing like little songs like Mary Had a Little Lamb in my head. And then I heard at one point your comedy duo in my head, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be bright, front and center, me and Marguerite. So I'm just honored that we are, on this mission together, bringing Mother Mary's message to the world. And for everyone who is here listening, I know Mother Mary has something unique and special to share with every single one of you. There is unique healing and unique magic. I invite you to open heart, mind, body, and soul to Mary's magic because you're here for a reason. You're listening to this for a reason. And there is so much love for you here. I really feel that so strongly from her.
Beautiful. Couldn't be a better way to conclude this conversation and open the door to the rest of our days, afternoons, or evenings, wherever you might be.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for coming live. Everyone watching the replay, thank you so much. I'm sending you all so much love.
Mwah. Bye.